Hello, this is Todd Luck, and this is a review of The Land That Time Forgot Fearless #3 from American Mythology. So this is part of their Edgar Rice Burroughs line of comics, and Edgar Rice Burroughs is, of course, the creator of Tarzan and John Carter of Mars, and they put out comics of some of his lesser-known works, like The Land That Time Forgot. And so this is the third issue in a 3-issue miniseries. And so taking a look at this cover, I really like this cover. It's got two of the female protagonists from the series, Sita the Savage and Croton, and they look fantastic. They're in a battle with this menacing looking creature called the Weiroo, who is in this issue. And it looks really cool. The Weiroo looks menacing. The women look badass. It's just a very, very nicely rendered cover. Tells a great little tale of, struggle here. Just really, really wonderful stuff. I do wonder what happened with this cover that was used to promote the series. We did get some really great covers, but I don't think this one ever made it on anything. Maybe this is going to be for the trade. I really liked it, but the covers we got were also amazing. So story-wise, this is pretty much a self-contained miniseries. It goes back and looks at Tyler Bowen and Liz LaRue and what happened to them directly after that first novel, and basically tells this unknown story of how they met Sita the Savage, which is a new character they introduced in previous comics, who is also appearing in a backup story in the new Tarzan novel that they recently put out. So this doesn't bear the mark of canon, but it really is designed to kind of tie into the novels and inform them, and it works really well. And so it continues American Mythology's track record of creating these wonderful, simple action stories that capture the Burroughs feel of, the characters going from one minute to the next in a series of intense action sequences. And, that's exactly what this is. But there's a little more gravitas to it because it is the first time meeting Sita the Savage and, various other characters. And also, the way the ending is done, I think, gives it a little bit more gravitas to it. I don't want to spoil it, but let's just say that it is one of those endings where, the good guys feel like they've won and, they're kind of gearing up for the next thing. It sort of reminded me of like the ending of like the first Avengers movie or something. You could kind of hear that music in the background. I'm a sucker for stuff like that. It made it feel very, very satisfying. Okay, I'm going to take that back as far as it not being in canon or being ambiguous if it's in canon or not, because if you open it up, while it doesn't have this on the cover, which they've been doing with the comics, it does have it on the inside cover and does have the fine print that does declare it official canon for the Edgar Rice Burroughs universe. So there you go. It does count with the novels. If we continue on the credits page, though, we're going to find an unusual credit that there were some art assistance needed. And this is by Mike Wolfer, who is, the writer. He's also the editor. He's also a brilliant, brilliant artist. But when a comic fan sees this, an old-time comic fan who has, noticed these things for a while, this usually is trouble. This usually means something went wrong. This was produced under less than ideal circumstances. And oftentimes this will be an absolute disaster or train wreck of a comic book that's just, someone had to go in there and just finish it and push it out the door. But I'm very happy to report that that's not what this is. The artwork does start out a little more solid on the first page, and it is going to get a bit looser and less detailed in the later pages. And there is some inconsistency in how the Weiroo is drawn, particularly his eyes. But overall, I barely noticed anything off with the artwork at all. I mean, it's just really great storytelling and good rendering. I mean, look at how great the plane of fire looks. And yeah, there's a couple typos in there too, but those can be easily corrected in trade, and that's just super common. Every company has had typos in comics since the beginning of the medium. But that's about as bad as it gets, guys. You're talking weird, weiroo eyes and a couple typos. That's American Mythology on a bad day. On a bad day, they are putting out better comics than most comic book companies are putting out on their best day. And this one had been delayed. The last issue that came out was in March. So, under that circumstances, yeah, occasionally there's some creator who could wait, until everything's perfect. They may delay it 6 months or a year or whatever, and then finally put out that issue. But what most companies have to do, because they've invested a lot of money in this, they've paid these people to put this out, and if this doesn't hit the shelves, they can't make that money back. What most companies do is that they will just shove it out the door. They will just toss something together, shove it out the door. It'll look horrible, but that's not what American Mythology does. They have a really great dedication to quality that I really, really appreciate. And all my comics that I read right now shipped on the same day, so I'm going to be doing reviews of all of them today. And what you're going to see is basically a case study in how to put out a comic book that Todd doesn't like. But what I will say is that these are comics I bought because of what they could be. This is a comic I bought because of what it is, because of what I know it will be, because I know I'm going to enjoy American Mythology stuff, because, again, that dedication to quality is something I really, really appreciate, because it is the one bright spot in, these new comics that I'm getting. And so, yes, I do highly recommend this miniseries. It should be available to order at your local comic shop, but you can also go on American Mythology's website and order it as well. They have put out another Land That Time Forgot miniseries recently, Zorro in the Land That Time Forgot, and it's a 4-issue miniseries. I do highly recommend that one as well. I've got reviews of all their Edgar Rice Burroughs comics on my YouTube channel. You can check those out. I really like their Edgar Rice Burroughs line. I highly recommend them all. There is a next miniseries in the works. Every single Burroughs property they've been doing, they do plan to do a next miniseries for. But what's coming next is actually going to be something new for them. It's going to be Beyond a Further Star. This is an actually even more obscure Burroughs novel, because there was only one novel put out of this concept. And so there's a lot of unexplored territory, and it looks like they're going to be able to do a lot of creation in this new miniseries. And if you've read their Monster Men and their New Moon Maid, you know that they've been doing a great job at that. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's got Victory Harbin from the new novels in it, and it's going to be coming out, at least according to solicitation right now, is going to hit comic shops on July 28th. So that's definitely one to look out for. So quick housekeeping notes. So in the back we have an ad for the Boss Fight Studio figures that they actually put out some comics of. And so the Zorro figure is out. Tarzan and Jane still has not shipped yet, so those are still up for pre-order. And we also get a advertisement for Zorro Galleon of the Dead, which is the current Zorro miniseries. The final issue of that did ship this week, so you can check that out. There's also a Zorro reprint series that American Mythology began recently called Zorro New World, which is based on the Zorro comics that Marvel put out in the 90s. It's reprinting those. And the TV series that 90s comic was based on is actually now on Tubi. So if you want to check that out, you can actually watch that series for free on Tubi. All right, that's it. Like and subscribe for more videos. And until next time, see ya.